Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 7, and on this event, we would like to present our work as a presentation, and our material is an anthropology of language. Okay, I would like to introduce our member first. Okay, the first member is Muhammad Fikri Reskianto, me, Muhammad Maulidi Firjatullah, Muhammad Fairuz Darwis, Nur Wahidah, Irmawati, and Salmiati. Okay, move on the first material.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Salmiati and explain the first slide. The first slide is doing linguistic anthropology. What doing linguistic anthropology? Doing linguistic anthropology can cover a wide range of activities. It can involve everything from collecting word lists and analyzing grammatical system to translating across cultural and linguistic boundaries. It can range from reconstructing ancient language or exploring language origin to helping revive dying language. And some of these linguistic anthropologists might examine the implication of linguistic relativity. Others look from universal grammatical pattern, while some linguistic anthropologists work with speakers of little studied or endangered language to book dictionary and grammar and revitalization programs. Others describe the political, economic, and social implication of code switching in contemporary speech communities. As part of broader field of anthropology, linguistic anthropology deals with all aspects of language, from technical to social and culture. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, move to next material.
Like to explain about cross-cultural application. One classic use for the tools of linguistic anthropology is informal language learning. Interceding and explaining can go a long way toward smoothing over those misunderstandings and toward helping people understand some of the different expectations associated with different linguistic practices, or different ways that people gain and use the kind of linguistic capital, or the different ways that people make linguistic choice to index gender, ethnicity, nationality, or other stances. Okay, I think that's all from me.
Very well, thank you. Let's move on next material, please. Okay, next speaker, please.
Okay, I want to explain about the working with language communities. Language extension is different from language change. Language extension occur when there are no more speaker of a particular language. This may occur gradually, as when fewer and fewer people speak English. It may occur all at once, as when all the speakers of a language are wiped on because of disease or colonialism or fervor. And language revitalization is a widely used term for this sort of attempt to assist people in maintaining endangered language, and then uh, translating language is language translating culture. Some linguist anthropologists find themselves in the mind by language communicate for a short-term revitalization project, and other become engaged in long-term field work with particular speech communities. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Explain bias in grammar. When we use words like waitress, actress, hostess, and backlot, or phrases like light beer, women's basketball, and black history, we are revealing a hidden bias in the grammar of English. And next is bias in words. Besides from what explained above, in spite of nearly 50 years of change, the word waiter, at least on the printed page and with no other clue, still seems to imply a man and not a woman. The fact that there are plenty of words like this in English, even though they are intended to cover individuals of any gender, seem to imply primarily men. Words such as he and man are supposed to work for both men and women, but they really don't. The sentence doesn't really work. And it's because the bottom line is that the word he really does bring to mind a man and not a woman. The interesting thing about switching to neutral terms like waiter and actor is that in a language like English, with its hidden grammatical bias, these neutral terms end up denoting men more than women, and the women are at risk of disappearing linguistically. Other words that suggest hidden bias in English are flesh tone for bandage that match the skin tones of European Americans and qualified when referring only to a minority or female applicant, or articulate when praising a Harvard-educated constitutional law professor who is also a highly trained public speaker. And next is bias in discourse. Although it is clear that they have discovered a kind of mock that works in much the same way as mock Spanish, they are confused. They are confounded by the fact that some of this mock African is indeed composed by and sent by real Africans. Why would African individuals use mock African to invoke negative stereotypes of wealthy post-colonial Africans? Their theory is that by knowingly invoke the language ideologies of the intended victims, the scammers are better able to break down the victims' defenses. The use of mock African in African scam letters make it clear that there are unexpected risks to not examining your own language ideologies. It is puzzling to note that while racist language is no longer generally acceptable, sexist language still appears in public discourse. There has been some recent indication that tolerance for racist language may be increasing again following 2016, and with it increasingly demonized language of many sorts with stereotypes and assumptions on all sides. Okay, that's all for revealing racist and sexist language. Please, next slide.
I will continue what Firja have explained about revealing racist and sexist language. Recognizing and uncovering bias in language is another area in which linguistic anthropologists have been making significant contributions recently, an area in which you can apply linguistic anthropology in your own daily life. See, for example, Cameron 2007, Lakoff 2001, Lippy Green 1997, Pandik 1987. You won't think that racist or sexist language would be easy to spot, especially after all the conscientizing. The United States has gone tough since the 1960s, but racist, but racist and sexist language is more subtly hidden than many of us realize. Some of this hidden in grammatical assumptions that we make when we construct sentence or choose forms of words. Some of it is hid in words, in the ways that we name and describe things around us. And some of it is hidden is discourse, in the ways that we talk to each other, in the jokes that we tell, and in the methods that we use. That's all, and thank you.
My name is Irmawati. I would explain about linguistic anthropology today. The field of linguistic anthropology has grown and changed in its 100 plus years of existence. In the earliest days of the file, the emphasis was on collection and cataloging language. Working to move beyond racist theories of language evolution, linguistic anthropologists stress the difference among language, race, and culture. The now attention to the origins of language, to the potential role of language in the evolution of humans, and to historical, genetic, and typological relationship among language has brought important new insight into the ways that language changes over time and space. Today, language is understood to be a cultural resource with economic, historical, and political value, and speaking is understood to be a cultural practice, learn and use in specific speech communities and in specific situations. Because it is the branch of anthropology that focus its lens on language, linguistic anthropology addresses all the issues. It is in the deepest sense an anthropology of language. Thank you.